everybody, and welcome back to College Football Corner. Kevin Walsh alongside Jersey Joe Archino. What a beautiful weekend it is going to be in the college football world. Now, we're going to start it off. We're going to preview all of the marquee matchups. Now, one matchup that is not as big as the rest is Ohio State against Minnesota, but their recent controversy with JT Barrett now being suspended for this game could make it interesting. I first want to ask you, what does this suspension do to the team in Ohio State who should be focused on repeating? They now have to worry about this controversy and the media attention that it wrongfully brings to this team. Your reactions to the suspension?
Well, controversy is certainly not something Urban Meyer was looking for, especially after it really seemed like he solidified his team's quarterback situation with JT Barrett. Cardale Jones really didn't make that statement that Urban Meyer had been wanting him to make. You start JT Barrett, and finally it seemed like the answers were there for Ohio State. Now it seems like those answers, again, are up and blurry. Cardale Jones, for him, this could kind of be a redeeming moment. JT Barrett, he kind of lost that starting gig to him. JT Barrett really solidified himself in that victory. But now we look back at it, Cardale Jones, this is the moment for him. He could prove this is why Urban Meyer started me in that opening game against Virginia Tech. This is why he chose me over JT Barrett. Will that happen? Look, I think they still will. Minnesota, like you said, respectable team, but Ohio State is just too much firepower. And there's certainly a lot of things. Again, controversy is never what you want to have, and Ohio State, they've got a little bit of it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to agree. I'm picking Ohio State to win here. But for me, what I think is going to be the thing is Cardale Jones is a man of opportunity. He seizes this moment and locks down the starting quarterback job for the remainder of the season. JT Barrett has made a costly mistake here. Now, moving on, a huge game. Clemson against Florida State. Clemson with the opportunity to cement themselves as one of the best teams in the entire country with a win here. How does FSU spoil the party?
I think at the end of the day, it's really what they've been doing. It's controlling that offense without the turnovers. And that's been one thing I think we all looked at Florida State and said, well, could Everett go? So we know he can play. We know he's got tremendous athleticism. Can he do it without turning the football over? And for the most part this season, he's done a pretty good job at that. And Clemson's defense is one that's very stout defensively. But you look at this last week and giving up a lot of points to an NC State team that we didn't really know how high-powered this offense was. So coming into this one, Clemson's defense a little bit down. Florida State's offense has that potential. But again, Clemson's offense at the end of the day has been very high-powered all year. They've really been able to get it done. Deshaun Watson's done a really good job mastering that offense and really doing it without too many turnovers. He did have too many turnovers at the beginning of the season, and he's starting to be a little bit more fluid in that department. So I do think Clemson has this one wrapped up.
Again, I'm going to have to agree with you. Once this, when the season started, we spoke about Clemson a lot. I was very high on them, and it took you a little bit to warm up to them. And I'm still high on the Clemson Tigers. I think that they have the opportunity here to lock themselves into the playoffs, and I think they will take that opportunity and run with it and really put on an impressive performance against FSU. Now, another huge game is going to be TCU and Oklahoma State, a huge battle here for both teams. How can Oklahoma State stop Trayvon Boykin and this TCU offense?
I think quite easily they can't. They can't stop him. All they can do is just match them with points. That's really all you can do to beat TCU. TCU defensively, it's just not where it's been for the most part under Gary Patterson's tenure there. It's one of his weaker defensive units, but at the same time, he has made up for that with building one of the most high-powered offenses in college football. Oklahoma State, again, is one of those teams where it took them a little bit of time to warm up offensively, but again, they've got a nice offense to boot. At the same time, though, all you can do, and that's all we've seen, is the teams that give TCU the problems are ones that make it close down to the wire, matching them with points. Trayvon Boykin has always had an answer. I think he will have another answer here. I just don't know if I've seen enough consistency from Oklahoma State to think that they'll be able to go and beat a TCU team. TCU are just too good offensively. 3
for 3, we agree. Again, Oklahoma State yet to play a ranked opponent, and TCU, they came in season ranked 2. They're now at 5, and they've earned that ranking from what they did last year and what they've continued to do. And not only is their offense clicking, but their defense last week held West Virginia to only 10 points. So if it came down to one of these teams needing a stop, I expect TCU to get it over Oklahoma State. Now, the final game, the game of the season, LSU Alabama. Now, before you give the people your prediction, I mean, this is such a big game. What are you just looking for from this game as a whole?
Look, I really think this might be my favorite rivalry in college football. It is always such a physical battle. You have two of the best coaches in the country who always have two of the best collective rosters in the country. Whenever they play, you know it's going to be a grind from the minute it starts to the second it ends. It's just a magisterial game across all different phases. In this one, and to make it even more interesting, we look at this from a historical perspective. The last 4 times these two teams have played since 2012, it's been all Alabama winning these matchups. And then before that, the only time LSU has won since then has been in that little 2011 window where they won that really grind-out 9-6 type game. You know these are always going to be close games. Alabama's really owned the rivalry the last 4 times they've played. Things have changed a lot since that has happened, though.
Well, now let the people know, I mean, it's the game of the season. LSU's chance to really make a huge statement that they are the dominant SEC team, and then for Alabama to really redeem themselves from that early season loss and would probably move themselves back up into the top 5, maybe even the top 4, and lock them into maybe a playoff spot here. Who gets this victory?
Well, when you try to look at this from a matchup perspective, this is going to be a battle of the running backs, obviously. Alabama has Derrick Henry, and then LSU with their Heisman frontrunner Leonard Fournette. The two of them are going to be the deciding factor in these football games because Brandon Harris, LSU's quarterback, Jay Coker, Alabama's quarterback, very conservative by nature, not the most explosive from a throwing perspective. So they're going to win these games, both of these teams, by running the football. The difficult part is both these teams are the two of the best running teams in the country. Alabama with the 3rd best total running ranked defense in the nation, and LSU right behind them with the number 4 total ranked team against the run. What it's going to come down to is which running back can get it going first. Obviously, I have more faith in Leonard Fournette than I do in Derrick Henry, but at home for Alabama, I just think at the end of the day, this is going to come down to the last final plays, the last 3-4 minutes of the football game. I think it's going to be a grinded out type one, but at home, I can't pick against Alabama.
You can't. I can. 3rd-ranked defense Alabama is. They haven't played Leonard Fournette. That's the best player in the country, and this week he proves it. I honestly don't think Alabama is just that good. I know early on I was really high on the Crimson Tide, but that loss to Ole Miss and then close games against Tennessee, I bought out, I sold all my stock on them, and I'm all in on LSU, especially when you have the best running back in the country. That's something that will propel LSU to not only a victory here, but an unbeaten season and get them into the playoffs. LSU for the win, but we'll just have to see who is right. Make sure you have your TVs turned on to that game. It's going to be a good one. For College Football Corner, Kevin Walsh, Jersey Joe Archino. We'll see you guys next time.